So hi guys, next up we have Mrs. Ritu Srivastava from Obino. And ma'am, if you could just introduce yourself and tell us what the company is about.
Hi everybody, thanks so much for having me here first off. Colors, Infinity and Shark Tank, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Ritu Srivastava. I'm the founder of Obino. We're essentially a health and weight loss coaching application. What we do is simply help you lose weight, get fitter, build your body, treat your chronic care condition. But we use exactly what's there in your home, equipment that's there in your home, food that's there in your kitchen. How do we do it? Really simple format. You just download our app. You can use it free of charge to lose weight and get fitter. But if you feel you need a little more help, like a lot of people tend to do, you can upgrade to a premium program. And there we actually pair you with your own fitness consultant and a dietitian, and they work with you one-on-one to develop custom programs with you. Once they develop the program, they actually look at helping you achieve those programs. And that's how you get to your ideal state.
So Ritu, if you can just start off by telling us how did you come about founding Obino?
Well, Obino started about 5 years ago in reality, but the seed of it was laid about 8.5 years ago when I gave birth to my beautiful little baby girl. In the process of having my beautiful little baby girl, I put on a not so beautiful 25 kilos. The baby was only 2.5 kilos of the whole 25 kilos. And I had never really been overweight before, so I really struggled with the weight loss because my mentality was, how tough can it be? I'll lose the weight. Very tough, apparently. But in the process of losing the weight, I discovered that if you're consistent and structured in your approach to getting healthier, it's not so hard. And that's where the seeds of Obino were really sowed, because I felt if I'm struggling with it, then there are a lot of people out there who are struggling with it too. And maybe what I found can help them as well. So that's where the business actually started.
So there would be some sort of challenges that you faced initially while starting out. So how did you overcome that?
The list of challenges is very long, very hard. I think one of the key challenges that you have as an entrepreneur in the very early days is finding people who believe in your vision to work with you. Something as simple as finding a co-founder. Because you were building a tech business, and I'm not a tech person, I'm a marketing person. Finding a tech co-founder to help you build out the product can be the first and most daunting challenge. The second is building out your early team, people who believe in the vision, who want to spend their lives in a low-paid, very low-comfort job to try and build out your vision of the product. Finding early investors, people who are willing to put their money behind you, their names behind you. Early stage is tough, and it's tough because it's just you with an idea. And you're literally going out there and selling your idea to everybody. So everything is a challenge in those days.
3 advantages of the Obino app and reasons why a particular person should start using this if they're already not.
It's convenient. That's the first and foremost. Life is so busy today, and it's a conundrum because everything is so convenient, you're expected to do more, right? It takes a second to book a ticket. It takes a second to plan a holiday. It takes a second to start a new app. So everything is so easy, you're expected to do more. And this process is hard. So Obino makes the process of losing weight and getting healthier much more convenient. You don't have to go anywhere. Everything comes to you, including your coaches. Second, it's cheap. Typically, any weight loss program will cost you upwards of 5,000 per kilo. We put you typically at rupees 750 per kilo. That's really, really cheap, literally less than 1/5 the cost. And the third and most important thing that we stress on as a business is we're not there to take money from you forever. We're there to help you learn to stay healthy. So the things that we teach you about your diet, your exercise, your health, these are decisions, these are lifestyle behaviors that will stay with you long after you've stopped paying for the app. So that's what we do.
So there would be things that people told you while you were starting out to pull you down. So how did you manage to overcome that, and what did you do to sort of get ahead of that?
I think people weren't so bad. I'll be really honest. Or maybe I'm kind of partially deaf, so I didn't hear all of that. But people by and large have been very supportive, very positive, very helpful. I think the only one thing that could have been kind of avoided is everybody kept saying, "Arey, how will you manage your family? How will you manage your child? How will you balance home and work?" And at some level, it is a challenge. But it's a challenge, I think, for any working woman. How do you balance your home? It's not harder for an entrepreneur. If anything, it's easier. Because when you run your own business, you have the flexibility to order your life the way you want. You don't have to work from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can work from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. And no other business or work gives you that kind of opportunity. So I think people will say what they say. The decisions you make, you have to make them work for you.
So, being a female entrepreneur, any sort of advice that you would give female entrepreneurs specifically, and obviously male entrepreneurs as well, on how to get started in this startup ecosystem?
So for female entrepreneurs particularly, I would say it's going to be hard. It's going to be harder than your male counterparts have had it. But that's nothing new for you, because you've always had it harder than your male colleagues have had it. So, it pretty much works out to the same thing. You are going to have to push harder, you're going to have to work harder, you're going to have to structure your life more carefully because you have more responsibilities. But it's as easy or as hard as being good at your corporate job. So get the fear of entrepreneurship out of your mind. And for any entrepreneur looking to start up, just start. There's never going to be a good time. There's never going to be enough money. There's never going to be enough support from your family and friends. Just start now.
So most entrepreneurs start with the goal and aim of getting funded. Do you think that is something that people should look forward to, or should there be an alternate goal in mind?
Actually, funding has been made out to be so glamorous that it's a validation of your success. I think for most entrepreneurs, it's not about the money. It's about the fact that you're validated. Somebody else is willing to put their hard-earned money on the table backing your idea. It's validation that everything that you've struggled for was right. You've proven right. It's just somebody saying you're right. And that's, I think, why funding becomes such a holy grail. To be proved right again and again in larger amounts with larger, more respected investors is very heady. But funding is also very hard to deal with, because now you've taken somebody else's money. It's not just yourself that you're responsible for. You're responsible for returning that money to your investors. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs realize that only after they take the money, that the responsibilities exponentially multiply. And we've raised 5 rounds of funding, and I can tell you it only gets tougher with every single round.
So weight loss being a really lengthy procedure, and you have to be very dedicated to your diet and all of that. But people want results now. People want immediate results. How do you help them stay motivated to tell them, saying that this is going to take time? There will be hurdles that you'll have to face in day-to-day life, but you have to be motivated, and eventually the results will come.
I think it's not just about weight loss. For me, weight loss and fitness is a euphemism for life, because it's all about small wins. Let's assume I'm 85 kilos and struggling to lose weight, and I haven't succeeded for the last 5-6 years. Now I'm irritated, suspicious, cynical, frustrated with myself. There's a whole lot of negative emotions going on. And the outcome of those negative emotions is that I feel I can't do it. I've failed in some way. When I get a small win, so for instance, we work on a 10 to 15 day target. Within the first 15 days, we look at helping the customer lose a little bit of weight, get a little healthier, walk a little further. That one small win basically convinces you that I can do this. It's not so hard. And that one little win kickstarts the cycle of motivation, and it just keeps becoming stronger and bigger and just takes your life over.
We have a question coming in. Will Obino be looking to integrate with Android or the Fitbit API? Will you be integrating stuff with the Fitwear and all of that?
I think wearables in India historically have been a troubled space. They have attrition rates of 98% upwards. And we've seen a lot of products come and go. We primarily integrate here at Obino with Google Fit, which is the base Android health tracker, and we integrate with iOS 8 Health Kit, which is the Apple platform. Between these two, we cover literally 99% of the market. To answer your question specifically, are we going to integrate with Fitbit? Not really, because your Fitbit integrates with your Google Fit, and that supplies the data to us.
How different are the ecosystems when you compare India to countries abroad?
Dramatically different. Anybody who believes that what works in the US will work in India is in for a terrible shock, especially in the space of healthcare. Healthcare in India is a burning need business. You will only go to the doctor, to the dietitian, to the nutritionist, to the fitness trainer when it has become of such epic proportions that nothing else can be done about it. That's not necessarily a good thing. In the US, it's far more preventive focused. We are curator focused. And I'm really hoping that with the exposure to Western media, interest in healthcare is going to grow up and preventive healthcare is going to become the norm rather than curative.
So you mentioned you received 5 rounds of funding. How difficult was it to get funding in the first round? And how long did it take you to make your first pitch and to keep it relevant so that the investor is vested in your business in the first go?
I think I was pitching from the day we launched the business because what I realized very early on is that investments happen with relationships. Nobody's going to meet you today, love your idea and give you money tomorrow. It does not work like that. You have to be around long enough for the ecosystem to develop a respect for you as an entrepreneur and for your product. And then when an investor meets you, maybe for the first time, he's going to like you, like your idea, and then do ref checks with his entire ecosystem to find out whether you're a reliable entrepreneur. Nobody wants to put their money into a fly-by-night operator. So from the day that you come with your idea, you need to start pitching and start selling, whether it's to early employees, whether it's to your co-founder, whether it's to early customers, whether it's to early investors, whether it's at workshops, whether it's at pitch sessions, whatever it is, get out there, get networking, start selling.
So we have a question coming in from Sarthak. How is it that till date Flipkart and Amazon, giants like these, are not in profit? Then who and how are people in profit with this system? So what he's trying to say is when companies like a Flipkart and Amazon are not making enough profits yet, how is it that Obino, being in a space of healthcare, is planning to go in the profitable route?
Okay, so I'm going to say something which may not make a lot of sense, but it's part of a larger conversation. It's difficult to answer it here. What you have to remember is that as a startup business, right, you're not necessarily in the game of profitability. You're in the game of growth. Disruptive businesses are built on the basis of growth, which is why companies like Flipkart and Amazon are pouring in funds to grow exponentially and inorganically to capture market share. If you wanted profitability, आपको किराने की दुकान खोलनी चाहिए थी. वो धंधा अलग है. Startups are about growth, businesses are about profitability. At some stage, when a startup matures and becomes a business is when it starts focusing on profitability. So there is a growth curve. I think what you have to remember as a startup is you are an asset class that is very high risk. People pay money in asset classes because they want them to grow. That's why FDs are not very good asset classes to invest in. They are low return and safe investments. Startups are high risk, high return investments. You're an asset class. You're not really a business model. It's a longer discussion, but I hope I managed to convey.
So obviously there would be a lot of learnings that you've had over the years of converting mistakes or missed opportunities to the actual winnings. So what advice would you give entrepreneurs today to actually convert their learnings and missed opportunities to winnings?
I don't believe in the concept of missed opportunities. You know, for instance, if somebody says that you're at a pitch session where there's an investor and he didn't like your idea and you've lost that opportunity, I don't think that's a loss because you've pitched and you've learned what did work. There is never a missed opportunity. There is an opportunity for learning. But you have to be sharp enough and quick enough to pick up on that opportunity and read the situation so that you don't make the same mistake the next time. Let's make a different mistake. Eventually you'll run out of mistakes and that's when you'll get it right.
Another question coming in. The competition in the health app space is fierce and extreme, with even fitness gyms and chains trying to experiment with apps. How does Obino try to stay ahead of the race?
Simply by giving results. Anybody who provides the right results will stay in the market, will last in the market. If you build a great product that understands the consumer and delivers results, there is no way you can't succeed. It might take you a little longer, but you'll get there at the end.
Can you tell us your professional goals that you have for the next 1 to 2 years?
Yeah, I've decided that after a couple of years, I don't want to work anymore. And then I'll start up again. Yeah. No, I think startup and entrepreneurship is, they're very addictive. It's like a game. The stakes are very high. You either get it right or you lose everything. And once you get used to playing this game, it's very difficult to get out of it because the highs are so high, that it makes up for the lows. And my professional goals have always been about doing stuff that I found interesting and challenging, that kept me intrigued, that kept me going. And I don't believe in regular 9 to 5 routine jobs. So that's definitely not in my future. I see startups in my future.
Another question coming up. Have you seen any change in the consumption patterns of health advisory apps in the last year? If yes, what kind? And are these specific to India or globally relevant?
I think one very interesting trend that's come over the last 3 years that we've been around is that we are seeing women buying products on apps more easily. You know, earlier they were a very, very difficult target segment to get to, because the moment I would say that I'm in weight loss, every investor would look at me and say, oh, but then it's perfect because you're a woman and women are about weight loss and all of that. Just to break that myth, men are more into weight loss than women are, but it's now easier to get to female consumers. And I think that's heartening because it shows a rising tech penetration amongst what is one of the toughest categories of consumers to get to. Women hold the household budget in their hands. They are huge spenders, huge consumers, but getting to them traditionally has been very difficult. The rising offtake of health advisory services from women show that women are getting online, and that's something I'm personally very kicked about.
So just like the Shark Tank show where entrepreneurs get a chance to pitch to investors and all of that, any advice that you'd like to give the budding entrepreneurs to make the most of that 5 minutes that they have in the tank?
I think the one thing that differentiates any pitch is the human story behind it. Your job in a pitch is not to get the money. You have to remember that. Your job in the pitch is to be memorable and resonate with whoever's listening to you, whether it's a consumer, whether it's an early employee, your potential co-founder, an investor. Your job is to tell a human story that resonates with them. When they walk out of there, they should remember who you are, remember what problem you're solving and why you're solving it. When that's lodged in their heart, the next steps are easy.
Are there any particular cities or geographical locations that are giving you more traction than others?
Not really one particular place, but yes, we do see about 40 to 50% of our business coming from the top 25 cities of India. But that's also, it's a corollary because we're a tech business and a lot of the tech offtake comes from those particular locations. The other cities in India are still slower to get onto the tech bandwagon.
And one mantra that you constantly follow in life to be updated and to be who you are?
I think you should only do something as long as you're getting something from it. As long as there is positivity and joy in what you're doing, you must keep at it. The day that there is a lot of negativity, frustration coming from that particular aspect, you have to realize that things have changed. And it's either time for you to move on or for you to transform the way you look at it. Because there really is no point to being unhappy, is there?
Any final words for our audience members?
I think entrepreneurship is a dream for a lot of people. It was a dream for me, and I'm now living my dream. I would just like to say, don't be scared. Take a shot at it. We're so scared of failure that we never take the first step. And that is such a regret that we live with for the rest of our lives. Take that shot. If it doesn't work out, you can always go back to your regular job later.
Okay, great. It was wonderful having you, ma'am.
My pleasure.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you again.
Thank you.